very much for having me here this morning. And one of the first things, each time I'm supposed to speak to a group of students, despite the long list of people that ma'am has spoken about that I've had on various shows, it's always speaking to students that makes me the most nervous, because it's always the toughest questioning that comes from there, and you're always judged very fairly by them, so it's always a bit, it makes me always a bit nervous. Having said that, there's a lot, I'm quite interested in the topic that we've chosen for the day today. We're looking at an all-pervasive media, and it's people like you, it's people from your generation that have really taken the lead as far as new media are concerned. Now take a look at this. There are 500 million tweets a day. 250 million people log on to Facebook every day, and 30 billion WhatsApp messages are sent around the world every day. These are just mind-boggling stats. I mean, even for the cynical who are questioning the role of media, new age, digital media, these stats are mind-boggling. And it is this digital world that you are now stepping out into. People who are used to access instantly, anytime, on the go. Life is on the go. I have everything, almost everything, apart from human relationships, right here on my phone, as do all of you. We are all on smartphones. We're all absolutely familiar with life and smartphones. We get all the news that we want, that we need, and very importantly, all the news that we certainly do not need to know, we are not a part of. All of that is now part of our lives. For instance, just yesterday at work, there was this conversation that how, courtesy social media, we all feel that we have been a part of the great Shahid Kapoor wedding. We've all seen the wedding card. We've seen what the girl looks like. Of course, we know the groom. We've seen pictures of the groom leaving to get married. And of course, now we've seen pictures of the wedding, pre-wedding, post-wedding. So for many of us, in a sense, it does feel that we've got a slice of what the wedding was like. That's what social media has done. We are not anywhere, none of us, as far as I think, unless there's someone out there very well connected to Bollywood, but I, for one, certainly am not. And yet I feel that from what the bride wore, to what the functions were like, to what the setup was like, we know it all. And we knew it almost instantly as it was happening. Some friends were tweeting pictures, those pictures were going viral. And there was, of course, in typical fashion, as tends to happen on social media, and this is not unique to India only, there was a very sort of healthy debate on what is she wearing, what is she looking like, look at the venue, and of course, on Shahid's acting skills or the lack of it, depending on which side of the divide you are on. This is the new media that you guys are now, of course, going to be looking at. It's a world where there's no getting away from social media, right? There's no getting away from digital media, from be it Facebook, be it Twitter, be it waking up in the morning and looking at headlines of top newspapers globally. In fact, I know of people who began saying that, the days when they said that I need my newspaper and a cup of chai in the morning to get started is now not true. I don't know how true it is for all of you, but increasingly in my world, people are saying we're not really reading newspapers because we get all the alerts that we want on our apps. And if we want to know more, it's there, it's online. Click on the app and you get the whole article, get onto a blog, and we know so much more. Now, the winds of change have been blowing for some time, but I think more and more people are now succumbing to it. Your life, like I said, is really on your fingertips, it's on your phone. I've got almost everything, like I said, apart from human relationships that I need right here. It was an hour-and-a-half drive this morning to get here, and I think I must have taken my eyes off the phone for 5 minutes, max 10 of it, and I wasn't doing anything very productive. I was again looking at the Shahid pictures, and I was looking at more pictures, and I was looking at some Washington Post articles, and I was just spending time, and I did not feel that I wasted my time really. And I stayed occupied. So increasingly people are telling me that they're not reading newspapers because alerts are there. They're not watching primetime TV yet. Their knowledge of current affairs is reasonably good. They're not expected to know perhaps as much as a journalist, say, would be expected to know. But they know what's happening, and it's all happening because of new age media. And that's the kind of media that you guys are now going to be interacting with. This, even as we are told that the internet revolution today isn't even 1% of what it is going to be. So, I mean, it's unimaginable to my mind what it's going to be, but you are going to be seeing so much of it unfold by the time you're done with your studying here, by the time, because it's changing every few hours. I mean, and more proof of that is really in my mother, who's resisted change for so long. No smartphone, I don't need it. I can barely SMS, I just need to make a call. And today my mother's on WhatsApp, and for all those who have parents on WhatsApp, having a parent using technology is like a bit of a mixed bag. It's good, okay, great. But it's also like, get off it. I mean, stay off it. She now wants to be a Facebook friend, and I'm like, no, you're not getting on my Facebook page. It's not on. Like, there are some things parents are not doing, you're not getting on my Facebook page. But it's an illustration to someone who a couple of months ago, my mother was so reluctant to figure out what WhatsApp is, or get onto YouTube. My mother's now trying out recipes online, and then excitedly telling me that she wrote comments, and then WhatsApping me or calling me 2 minutes later to say her comment got 2 likes. One of those likes was from my Masi, but that doesn't matter. My mother got 2 likes, and it made my mother's day. So this is what technology is doing. It's just involving more and more of us, and there's just so much that you can now do with technology. It's like I said, it's just mind-boggling, and this is from what we know today. And again, I try very hard to keep up with technology. You will realize as you go out there that you can never stay up with technology, but as future managers, it's going to be one of the most important things to stay up with what's happening in the world of tech, because media as we know it today is transforming so rapidly that by the time we look at another 5 years, one can't even think of what's going to be like a decade from now, but another 5 years, the media landscape is all going to change. It's going to change drastically. Look at Snapchat. Look at where Snapchat is now. People are going beyond Facebook, Twitter. Take for instance the entire Lalit Modi saga. Again, I don't know how many of you followed it closely, but anyone would sort of perhaps know that Twitter emerged the best journalists there. In fact, there's a joke in newsrooms that Twitter is our most sort of used source of information. Look at how Lalit Modi used it. Every little information that he had for a week, he was releasing on Twitter, and every journalist on every top channel, not just in India, but in fact publications globally, were running after his tweets, and there were reactions to it. So he was waking up in the morning and say, "Acha, aaj kiske piche jana hai?" And he would put a name out, and we would spend the next 48 hours running around madly waiting for his other tweets. In fact, all newsrooms now have positions created for people who track social media. Twitter is saying this, people are saying this. Very often if you watch TV, you will see there's a Twitter scroll now that's begun running at the bottom. So people are not going to you and saying, record your voice and tell us. It's on Twitter. The world's moved on Twitter so rapidly. I mean, that's what you're looking at. Now, it's very fair if you sort of say, how does this impact you? It does impact you. It impacts you a lot, because a lot of the people that you are now going to want to reach out, your prospective customers, your future clients, companies that you want, your businesses that you're going to be a part of, you're going to have to use this very media. You have a population out there that wants to access everything instantly. There's a bank in the UK I read earlier this week that is only online. They have no physical branches. That's what they're doing. The world's moving online so rapidly. There is this bank where there's no face, there's no structure, there's no building, there's no office. It's only online. There are e-commerce companies now, even in India, who are increasingly saying that you can only buy stuff off us if you have our app. You need the app. In fact, there is a joke that instead of happier times, we're living in appier times. I think that is very true, because there is now an app for everything, including one that I discovered recently. It was an app on how to bring joy to your life, which is basically, inspirational quotes that sort of come your way all day. That app is just sort of sending quotes your way. But really, I mean, from finding a sale to a soulmate, you can do it all through apps now. I mean, can't you? You can go from Flipkart, you can go to Naukri, you can go to Shaadi. It's all there. It's all on the app. And perhaps many of you are going to sort of take those apps further. There's going to be new development. There's going to be new ideas coming up. The world's really being driven by apps. I mean, look at Snapdeal, look at Make My Trip. Like I said, Naukri.com, Shaadi.com. You can buy furniture online. You're downloading music. There's gaming happening. You can sell your stuff on OLX. You can buy new stuff of Amazon. It's just endless. So like I said, I mean, you're looking for love, it might be there on an app. You're looking for that book that you can't find. Yes, very, very possible that it's out there. So there's a lot of that happening. There is of course a flip side. I'll get into that a little later, especially because all of us know what the flip side is. But increasingly, new age media is what I'm sure you've realized too. People are relying on. I mean, we have a prime minister who's used social media so very effectively in his election campaign. His online army plays such a strong role in creating his election campaign. You have a chief minister of Delhi who's again used social media to get his message across so very effectively. You have President Obama who started crowdfunding. I mean, crowdfunding. Give me $2 if you believe in me, if you want me elected. Wow. I mean, eventually one day I think that is going to come to India. Who knows, it might come from the forthcoming elections in Bihar also. But that's the kind of sort of new age, out of the box thinking that future managers like yourself are going to have to come up with. And one key way of doing that is to stay abreast with what's happening in the world of technology, because there are new ideas coming every day. Look at online education. Look at the kind of doors that it's opened up. Mid-level professionals who can't really afford to pack their bags and leave and go and study somewhere are adding to their skill set. They're getting online education. I mean, top universities in the world, the Yale, the Brown, the Harvards, are offering online degrees and people are signing up. Why? Because it's a great opportunity. It's all online. You never get into a classroom, you're not tested in a classroom, it's online. Your learning's online, then you're on your own. Look at how Khan Academy is doing it. The world is just moving online very, very fast, and there's no option now but to keep up. I think there was a time when people were cynical that they said, it won't last, let us see. But as you see that it's not just lasting, but it's threatening traditional media as we know it. So that of course being very, very key. Look at Skype and say WhatsApp. Now in a newsroom I can tell you, when Skype and WhatsApp first began and we began seeing videos on it, our first reaction would be, we're not putting this on air. This kind of quality is never going on air. Now if you hear a conversation in the newsroom, it's like the person is sitting in the back of Beyond in Timbuktu, Skype karao, you know, and it's all going on air. It's just, you just have to evolve with the times and you have to stay on top of things, and technology is not the easiest to stay on top of, because although man's creating technology, technology is leaving man far behind. Now we have a unique advantage in India that we have people of your age group in crores now, and you guys are really going to write the India story, which is why it's really in your hands what you're going to do with new age media. Many of you might be creating new age media. I mean, just look at the startup situation in India. Look at the online space in India. Many of you could be leaders in it, could be sort of, you know, really path breakers when we look at online stuff. So many mega success stories happening in the online world. People who are just online, who've got small teams, who spend their day doing their back-end work, are reaching out to people, again through various platforms on social media, pushing their businesses. So whether be it a grocer who's trying to sell you groceries delivered to your doorstep, again all you need is an app to do it. Whether you're trying to get from place A to place B, whether you want an Uber or an Ola, controversies around them notwithstanding, the fact that you can get a taxi to your doorstep, you can get groceries to your doorstep, you can get baby products. I'm told that baby diapers are now one of the fastest selling online products. So who would have thought? I mean, I thought when Flipkart began with books that that was the ultimate. But books have now been left behind. And this is all happening because we're a country that's now willing to explore. We've got perhaps in the next couple of years, I think we'll have more smartphones than the US too, unless we're already there. I have to check that one figure, but we'll have more smartphones, and the world really is moving to using smartphones. Your customers are going to be part of this reality. Remember that we are now getting used to a system where your customers, your businesses are going to be reaching people who are on the go and who are used to this kind of technology. So for you as future managers, it's going to be absolutely critical to come up with new ideas, to create the hook, and your messaging. I think messaging just becomes key, because messaging is the hook, and that's the way that you're going to capture the attention of all those who you really want to. I am, of course, going to look briefly at the flip sides. We all know the flip sides of too much online. I mean, I've got an app with which I do my banking here. My phone recently got stolen a couple of months ago, and not for a moment did I doubt that my bank app was going to be misused, because there are several ways to do it. My mother, of course, had a panic attack that this is why you never bank on the phone, this is why you should never have it, but nothing happened. And I'm told that most people around me at work especially, we're doing our banking on the phone, we are running our lives on the phone, we've got everything on our phone, which is why we don't seem to be able to take our eyes off the phone, which is why relationships, they say, are in jeopardy, because the phone's taken center stage in our lives. That, of course, I do believe there is sort of a work-life balance now. What you will need to do is to have a tech-life balance. You will need to sort of put tech to rest, but only you can work that balance out for yourself. At the end of the day, of course, it's all about balance. I will wrap by mentioning a quick quote that I read again while we were driving this morning, which says, "My life is now a constant assessment of whether what's happening in real life is more entertaining than what's happening on my phone." I think that really sums up the way we are all looking at technology. I'd like to throw the floor open to any questions or any sort of thoughts that all of you or any of you may have on how you are using tech or how you can use tech better to, say, affect your career as manager. Is there something, okay, let me try and rephrase that. Is there something in technology that you wish that you could use more, or you would like to create something, or you would like to have something created that you believe would make a big change to the way you see your future? No. How many of you would you describe yourself as tech obsessed or phone obsessed with your smartphones? I mean, I'm assuming that a majority here will have smartphones. What is the thing that you do most on your phone besides Facebook? Or is it Facebook? WhatsApp. WhatsApp? Okay. What about you?
I follow the Play Store's apps that come up.
Facebook app?
I follow the Play Store.
I see.
Apps that comes up. I read reviews about them.
Yeah.
That's about pretty much about them.
Are you also reviewing yourself?
Yes, I do that. I mean, with the changes that I've had past year, like I started reading news based that.
Yeah.
Right, so that keeps me updated, and I started using a few news apps as well.
And that actually, I think, speaks to many people, that how you get hooked, how that first experience just gets you hooked really. You try it, it works for you, it gets you hooked. In fact, that reminds me that there are a number of people who are now becoming, armchair reviewers. They can sit back and they can review a product and they can put it out there. It's often make or break, and not often very fair, but the fact is that this is a world where if you have something to say, there are enough platforms to be able to say it and be heard too. Anyone else who's perhaps using their phone or using a piece of technology to do something different? Are many of you on Twitter? Yeah. Who are the handles that you follow most on Twitter? Anyone from this side? No? Sorry? I'm just asking if there are Twitter handles that you follow. Who are the handles that you follow the most? Yeah, sure.
And MotoGP.com.
Sorry?
MotoGP.com.
Okay.
I'm Rajiv Makni.
Aha, okay. Okay. So you must be, who said Rajiv Makni, sorry? So you must be really a tech geek yourself, yeah. Oh really? Is that I mean, she's on Twitter. Wow. So, I mean, that just shows the wide variety of people, from those who are interested in tech, to dance, to gadgets, to news, to auto. Everything, there's something for everybody online, and I think that's the great joy of the online world, that there's something for everybody. Is there a fair number of people who also think that we are overdoing our lives on the phone? Like, do you ever wish that you should be putting the phone away or putting your phone down and finding something else to do, perhaps? Are you able to do it, is the question?
No.
In fact, I think that should be the next discovery by someone of your generation, perhaps, to find out if there is an app, or find out if there is some technology by way of which people can be made to keep the phones away, because sometimes I really wish that there should be like a beep, or maybe my phone should just pack up and say no more wastage of time, or something like that, because I think I need that to be detached from the phone, which doesn't always happen. So that's that. Well, what about, say, your parents? I mean, how many of you have on WhatsApp with your folks? Oh God. I guess good and bad, right? Is our experience. I know exactly what about Facebook? Parents on Facebook? Parents on Facebook?
Yes. But not on the front.
Are they your friends? Thank God, because for a moment I was worried that I was alone and keeping my mother away, and I was being this heartless person. But what is it? Tell me one thing. Of late I find myself reaching out to posts which have links on Facebook, which have a lot more meat on Facebook, as opposed to only liking pictures, or the same kind of comments that one tends to read about how cute, how pretty, how sweet, how nice, how wonderful, etc., etc. Basically gush and gloating. And if you notice that the same kind of phrases, and I find it quite interesting that we tend to use the same kind of, say, phrases for a whole host of, there's pretty, sweet, wonderful, lovely, nice. I mean, over and over again. It's almost like vocabulary on social media cannot expand beyond a certain point. You sort of find yourself sometimes struggling to sort of say something that you want to have some value on Facebook, because it doesn't work for me. I'm still saying how sweet, how nice, how wonderful. And sometimes I step back and say, but I don't need to. It's okay. But you sort of also feel compelled to write?
Yes.
I mean, to say something?
I mean, if you see the comments of some pictures, you will see same comments and same sentence over there. So
exactly.
you should write something different.
Exactly.
I mean,
and the flip side, exactly. And that's the attempt. But I think because the first instinct is ki kuch likhna hai. And then you just write the first thing that comes to mind, especially if you're sort of scrolling over the previous comments, which we tend to do. But of course, the dark side of this is also the fact that there's been so much furor of late, people posting rather inappropriate things, which is the whole selfie craze. And when is a selfie too much? I mean, you're going to, say, a private event which is not a celebration, and you're posting selfies. You must have seen the entire Facebook outrage with people posting selfies at during cremations, for instance. But there's a selfie there. So that's what social media can do. It can blur the lines. And the problem is that very often things are anonymous. I don't know by far the person who's done this, but it's all over my page. It's all over my feed. And the flip side of that is on Twitter, where people don't even use their names, right? Anonymity is everything. So I can be, today's journalist, I can be girl next door, I can be anything, you name it. I can be superwoman, I can be bad girl. And anonymity is a problem on social media, because people get away with a lot of abuse, with a lot of slander on social media, because they hide behind anonymity. For those of you on Twitter, and even for those who are not on Twitter, I would urge you to get there, to understand what Twitter is doing. It is a hook because, like I said, it is the best news feed possible. After the earthquake in Nepal, the first information that came out was, I think, from an AFP journalist, and someone in the newsroom picked it up and said, there is a journalist who I think is from an AFP, because the Twitter handle had AFP, who said, we just felt the strongest tremor. The US Geological Survey had not reported it. And any earthquake that we feel anywhere is usually corroborated by the US Geological Survey website. When the same earthquake happened in China, it was Twitter, in a country which is so tight on controls on social media. Having said that, the news of the China earthquake came out 15 minutes on Twitter, from Chinese on Twitter, before it was on the US Geological site. And in fact, Nepal had another very good example of what social media can do. It's not just information. Within hours of the Nepal quake, after it was very clear how serious it was, this is where the new age media came in. There were online collection sites ready. People had worked out online collection sites, and they were being advertised every well. Again, the power of people on media, unconnected in parts of the world that were not affected by the plague, who did not have family members or friends in Nepal, who were not affected, not connected to it, were getting together and saying, this is the time for the world to do something. It was that Saturday morning and it was hours after. But I think within the first 7 hours, there were 3 credible collection sites, funds to be collected for Nepal. That is the power of New Age media. One didn't have to wait that first the country will get over. First they will assess the enormity of the damage. Then they will rescue those who are trapped. Then they will worry about paisa kahan se aayega. Then people, none of that. That would have taken 20 days. People reacted within hours. So, I mean, when you look at New Age media, the glass is certainly half full. There is danger. We know what the dangers are. Your identity can be compromised. Nothing is safe. Nothing is personal. We know that, and we have to, as adults, as responsible individuals, keep all those checks and balances in this place. But I'll wrap by saying that there's no getting away from the New Age media. It's better to sink your teeth into it wholly and full-heartedly to really understand the full potential, because it is going to be one of the most important tools for future managers like yourself out there, because people like my mother are outdated very fast, and she's also trying hard to keep up. In fact, the pace she's going to leave me behind before you know. She's going to be on Snapchat very soon, which is something even I haven't tried. But there will be no option for the likes of you. So good luck.